Hello, and welcome back for part 6 in this video series. I'm really just going to show you very quickly how we're finishing up the script writing process. I know it's been a lot of videos and a lot of time. That really reflects on how much time it actually takes to write a screenplay. It's no small feat. And again, this is really just the first 30 or so pages that I'm showing you. So what I've done here is I've taken everything that we output out of pseudo-write, and this is that document after it's been rewritten, added to, edited, basically just completely revamped by hand by me. This is Writer Solo. It's not an AI app. Writer Solo is essentially just a word processor. It's script writing software, so it's a word processor that's really just designed to write scripts and screenplays. I just wrote everything that the script needed. And that's the thing about AI, is that if you know your story and you know what your scene needs, just write it. AI, it can get you pretty far. It can fill in a lot of the blanks. It can help you out when you need structure. If you know what is supposed to happen in your movie, in your story, then just write it. Just write what is supposed to happen. So that's kind of what happened here. I had the scene, and it generated mostly what I wanted. It generated pretty much everything I asked for. But there were a couple things that I just wanted to add in, and things that I just felt were missing. And a lot of it I had to take away, really. Most of it was... So we started with about 30 pages, and here we are with 24 pages. Because most of it was stuff that had to go. Most of it was extra direction. A lot of it is narrative stuff that is great if you're writing a screenplay and you need to describe exactly what is happening as far as people's emotions, people's inner thoughts, people's motivations, people's inner monologue. But for me, in the way that I produce scripts and screenplays and animate them, I don't need any of that, because I'm telling the story. I'm really interpreting the dialogue and the story itself into what I see through my mind's eye, and I'm animating that. It really depends on your style. If you're the kind of person that feels that all of that direction needs to be in the screenplay, then of course leave it in there, or write it in there, whatever you need. If it doesn't need to be in there, which is actually typical for a lot of screenplays, a lot of people don't want anything that isn't a visual directive or isn't something that the actor is actually doing, like an action or blocking or things like that. If it's not that, if it's thoughts, inner monologue, things that can't be seen on screen, then just leave it out of the script, because as I was saying before, show, don't tell. So we cut a lot of that down, and really the way that it was writing the script, it was giving us a lot of kind of useless directions, like telling us that a character is whispering or scoffing, there's specific facial expression, or that he was grabbing for his gun at that moment. And that's all well and good. Most of that is necessary to tell the story if you're just telling the story completely from scratch. But the fact that this is all going to be animated and visualized later, I don't know if I'm going to animate the guy grabbing his gun during that scene at that moment. Probably not. I don't know if I'm going to animate the guy turning the corner and looking behind him exactly in that way at that moment in that scene. I don't know. I probably won't be animating it exactly that way. I am just looking for dialogue and story. And like I said before, anything that necessarily happens on screen, things that are visual, things that are would be considered blocking or actions, like someone walking into a room or walking down the street, those kinds of things I would probably leave in the script. Anyway, all I'm showing you here is that this is done. So this is actually what we're taking to production. This is what I'm going to use to animate this edited script. And I'm going to, for anyone following along, I'm going to give you the exported version of what we took out of pseudo-write, and I will also show you this exported version of what we're taking out of Writer Solo. And this, what we're taking out of Writer Solo, is the human-edited, human-rewritten version. And you'll see that it's pretty different. I added a lot of scenes. I actually changed a good portion of the plot, sort of at the last minute, just as I'm writing this and thinking about it. I thought, and again, this is why you want to rewrite it manually. Why I want to anyway, is I'm writing it and going, hey, I want this story to be completely different, actually. I want to focus on a tournament. I literally want these characters to be fighting in a martial arts tournament. And maybe that's kind of stupid, maybe that's kind of wacky, maybe that kind of breaks the entire flow of the story. I don't know, but I'm just going to put it in there because that's what I want. And again, and I don't know if I touched on this before, but AI or not, regardless of how you're writing the story, you want to animate something that you believe in. You want to animate a story that you like, that you think is good, and other people don't necessarily have to think it's good. It doesn't necessarily have to be the best story in the world, but it at least has to be good enough to keep your attention for the duration that it takes for you to make it. You know, Steve Albini, the late great producer and engineer, I actually did sound for his band Big Black. They did a show in Hawaii once. So while setting up and while doing sound for Steve Albini, I was able to talk to him for a little bit and hang out, and I asked him for a bit of advice. What kind of advice would you give me? And he gave me some really good advice that seems like common sense. He said, just don't take on any projects that you don't like. Don't ever work with a band that you think sucks or that you don't believe in. And really, all he was saying is that if you're going to spend that much time with them and put that much work into their project, just make sure it's something that you want to listen to. Don't work with an artist that you can't stand listening to. You're not going to want to mix a song and listen to it over and over again if you don't like it. You can times that by 10 if you're doing an entire record. And I think that advice translates to almost anything creative or artistic, and especially movies. If you're going to make a movie by yourself from start to finish, don't make something that you think sucks. Make something that you think is fun. Make something that you like. Animate things that you want to see. Don't animate things that you think are boring or are tired or lame. Don't do it because you think someone else is going to like it. Do things that you want to see. Make films that you want to see. Tell stories that you want to hear. Animate stories and make animated films. Just make what you like. Animate the stories that you want to see come to life. So with that said, again, I don't think this is the best story in the world, but I'm beginning to like it. I'm having a lot of fun writing it, and I think that by the time I finish it, it will be even better. So again, this is just the first 30 pages. Now what I'm doing here is, again, this isn't fully necessary because we're basically going to go from this script here, but I want to throw this back into pseudo-write so that pseudo-write will have this to read from when it generates the later scenes. So now we have that all back in pseudo-write, and again, you can change any of this at any time if you want to, but I consider all of this done. And if anything, if I'm going to alter it, I'll probably alter it when I'm animating it and doing the voices. Sometimes I do change things at the last minute when I am doing the voice recording or doing the actual animation. I'll go through things and things just don't make sense or aren't lining up. Or if I just want to see a change, I'll do it at the last minute there. Sometimes that can cause continuity errors, so I don't really like to do that. But I consider all this done. But I am putting it back in suite so that when I generate more scenes and finish out the rest of the story, it will have what I consider the final version here to pull from. Also, since it's been properly formatted in pseudo-write, see, we can hit find errors and it's not finding anything because we've actually gone through and fixed all of this. So because of that, it is now pretty much properly formatted here in pseudo-write. And I'm sorry, because I properly formatted everything in writer solo. This is the real format. You could actually give this outputted script to someone who reads scripts or a Hollywood producer, and they would look at this and go, yeah, this is properly formatted. This is the way a script should read. Which helps a lot. As I mentioned before, it helps a lot with just readability. So that's it. That's how we are going to write the script. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep on doing that. And as I go, I'm going to just keep on adding more to this document here in writer solo and editing it